Hello. Thank you for joining me. You might see that we have called this particular live streaming Tea Time with Sonja. And of course, I suppose you already know why we've called it that. I'm stating the obvious. Because if you've been joining me at live streams, or this is your first, and you've seen on the website that we have a lot of tea time moments. And so how can we do live streaming without tea? Oh, I thought that had been drawing for a while, but it looks a bit weak. Ding, ding, ding. Anyway, here's tea. And thank you for joining me here on our live streaming today. Although it's called Tea Time with Sonja, I'm looking over here because there are questions. We were saying live Q&A with Sonja before because of the fact that that's what this live streaming is all about. It's been available here to answer your questions and be here for you to encourage you in your home education journey or in your parenting or in any aspect of lifestyle that we can support you in. Meaning, when I say that we can support you in, I'm basically referring to Oikos lifestyle, because Oikos lifestyle is what we know and we've lived it for all the years. And in case you don't know who I am, I think maybe I should introduce myself, being Sonja Wood, and I'm a founder, one of the founders of Oikos. And Oikos is a ministry that is here to support families that are teaching their children at home and just parenting in general. And so we have been doing this for the last 30 years or so. We have a ministry called Oikos Family Ministries, and there is a website where there are a lot of productions that we've been able to do over the years because our own children were home educated all their lives. I was partially home educated. And because our own children were home educated, well, one of the fruits of them being home educated is that they are now adults and they're able to help us with this ministry. And so because of that, we have lots and lots and lots of productions on the website. So I'm telling you that now because of the fact that I have a whole lot of questions here which are all very, very well covered and answered on the website. And I could start telling you how to find them and where to find them and where to go. And we thought, we don't really think that it's the very best way for me to be spending the live streaming time and talking to you about where you can go on the website and find more. However, that is the question. The questions that people are asking are questions that come up a lot from people that are walking this journey. And perhaps you don't know where to find it on the website, or perhaps you don't even know that it's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these questions that I've received, and then I'm going to let you know that they are really well covered on the website, and so you can go and look for them. And then I'm also going to hope that our live streaming time will become one of where I can encourage you in this journey, help you not to give up, help you to press on and continue being the parent for your children that God wants you to be. So that's what I'm hoping this will be for you. All right. So now here we go. Let me read the first question. It says, where's a family are planning to travel overseas soon for a holiday? Oh, nice. Before I read the next part of the question, I'm just going to pause right there and say that in itself is such a blessing and a gift for parents that are home educating their children, because you can go out of season, hopefully. So that means you're going to get much better rates. And secondly, whether you are going out of season or not, it is the most wonderful learning opportunity. So please grab every moment you can for a learning opportunity, without overdoing it, of course, because I also know families that have got their children taking files with them on holiday to make sure they keep up with their work. And what I suggest to them is leave the formal lessons at home and go and learn everything there is to learn while you're on that particular holiday. So first of all, I think it's exciting that you're going overseas. That clearly means that it's going to be including travel such as flight, which is another whole area that the children can learn a whole lot about. But let me move on to the next part of the question. How can I apply for a visa for my children if we are homeschooling them using the Oikos curriculum? And now I'm going to say to you, well, actually, I could spend quite a bit of time answering that question, but we have already, and it's on the website. You can actually go to the Q&A section on the website. There's in the Q&A section, if you go to the search, you can put their documents or visa, whatever comes to your mind, and hopefully you're going to find the article about this. If you can't, then you can just email us, help@Oikos Family, and we'll send you the link immediately from the email we receive from you. If you have any difficulty trying to find anything on the site, or maybe you think it's not there, or you have a question that you're not sure is already covered there, you can just email us. We really don't mind. You can send us an email and we will send you the link of what you can go and find and see. And the particular question here about the visa is coming up more and more. And I'll tell you why, because some laws have changed regarding documents that are required for parents taking their children out the country. And that's for your own protection, because there's a whole lot of development that has happened in the child trafficking, not a nice topic, but there's new laws put in place for the protection of children, which is what we want, clearly. And so that means the parent need to have all your documents all organized for when you do go to travel or go to get that visa that you need. I hope that you'll find the article that we have put there for you on the website to be helpful in helping you put this documentation together that you need. The next question is, we have bought an Afrikaans book. The title of the Afrikaans book is there, but apologies for not being able to read that very nicely, because I'm sure I won't read it as well as it should be read, because it is in Afrikaans. And you bought it from the bargain box and you love the book, but sadly you cannot find other Afrikaans literature. Well, you know what, I'm sad as well about that, because I think we must have had more than a dozen titles of this Afrikaans literature. We had a lovely variety of titles, and Afrikaans families were really enjoying using them as read-alouds. But unfortunately, sometimes even the best things come to an end, and this is one of those. It's come to an end, and we really would keep them there and keep distributing them and supplying them if we could, but we can't. And so what happened is, as they slowly sold out, we weren't able to replace them. Whereas before we were replacing them as they sold, we replaced them, and now we can't. So I think there's probably only 2 of those Afrikaans books left on the site. So that's a bit sad. So I'm sorry that we don't have any more, but I'm very pleased to hear that you did enjoy the book. That's wonderful. So it was worth it just for you to have that book to enjoy it. Another question is, if I put my children back into proper school, how do I know that they will be able to go into the right grade for their age if we're doing Oikos? Good question. Again, sorry to say, but we have covered this quite well on the website. And I shouldn't say sorry to say, I should say I'm very pleased to tell you that we have covered this on the website, also in Q&A. So if you want to go and have a look on the website at Q&A and look for that particular topic about putting children back in school, you can see the video on that, and you can also perhaps read the transcript if there is one with it. We're trying to transcribe all of our videos at the moment, so if you are having an internet problem or data problem, then you can read what is contained in the video. But what I can assure you with is the fact that I haven't yet been given a report from anybody or feedback from anybody to say my children needed to go back into school for whatever reason and it just was terrible. They weren't up to grade level, they weren't able to cope. I haven't had that. I've had the opposite, where they've said they've been way ahead of the grade level. In fact, they're so beyond their peer age group that if anything, has been a little bit of a problem, because they're 12, but their level of education is more at the children that are older. But then it's an advantage to them, because maybe they've been at home and they've got other things to deal with in school that they weren't needing to deal with at home, and so they don't have the perhaps academic struggle that they would be having if they were not up to the level of their peers at the time. But that's not what I've heard. We haven't done it ourselves. Our children didn't have to be slotted back into a school system, so I don't have personal experience on this. But what I do have is the many positive stories I've had of people saying that the thing that they were worried about in that regard is actually turned out to not be a concern at all, about as far as them being able to be up to standard. And I'll tell you why parents worry about this is because let's say they're doing Maths UC and they're doing Gamma, and they hear that at the school, when they go to slot them into school, the children there have done division and fractions, and your child at home education has only gone as far as multiplication, gamma multiplication. But as you might have gathered by now, that Steve Demi is very passionate about maths, you see, and he's teaching it from he's using a different method to teach maths. So what his philosophy is that once you have learnt a particular concept very well and you've got mastery in that, you're going to be able to pick up the others quickly. Whereas in a particular school system, they might be teaching maths differently, going through teaching a little bit of division and a little bit of fractions, and just like the beginning concept of each, not going really deep and getting that concept fully mastered. So it is a different philosophy. So you might think, but now my child's going to school, and in the curriculum last year already, they did division and fractions, and we haven't even touched on that book yet, and so you're concerned about that. What I have heard as a result of that concern is there was no need to be concerned, because of the fact that when a child goes into the school system, they're very confident in what they already have mastered. So if they need to catch up and learn some new maths concepts that are brand new to them, it's not a problem for them. It's not a difficulty. So I just hope that helps you a little bit here. And as I say, there is more on this topic if you want to go and look for it on the site. I'll move on to the next question. It says, if my children are not homeschooled and I'm wanting to start, how would I know what level of maths and English to purchase? Well, fortunately for you, we made a video series called Start It, and then we made another one called Do It and another one called Finish It. But in this particular instance, you are wanting to look at Start It. And in the Start It videos, you will find one particular video called How Do I Assess My Children? And that video, we hope, is going to help you to make these assessments. The question is, how would I know what level maths and English to start at? The video that's how do I assess my own children, or how to assess your own child, in the Start It series, actually gives you support and guidance on how to go about doing those assessments and how to actually get to that answer as far as, I don't know which level maths or language to purchase. To find those videos, you would go to the video tab, and then you would go to courses, because it's a course, and you will see under the courses Start It, Do It, Finish It, and then you would click on Start It and you would find the appropriate video. But again, if you are not finding what you need, you can please just drop us an email. We'll send you the link that is pertaining to what you're looking for. The next question, I'm just going to pause on the questions for a minute and just see if there's any questions that I'm missing over here. Thank you for joining me. Deborah, you are all the way over there in Mozambique. Thanks for joining us, Deborah. I know that you've joined us before, and I really appreciate that, because you know how wonderful it is to talk to you there in Mozambique, and here we are in South Africa. And while I've got this opportunity, Deborah, I just do want to say that I read your recent newsletter, and I was so, so blessed about the work that's happening there, and the training, the adult education that's happening, and your children growing up so beautifully and wonderfully, and them being involved. And just thank you for the work you're doing there. In fact, I want to just stop and encourage you, and just to hopefully bring some strength for you to continue enjoy and know that God is smiling on you. And I'm sure if you know that, that's going to strengthen you, because He most definitely is. It's a fantastic work that you're doing there. And I'm thrilled that you are able, with internet and data and everything else, I'm so pleased you're able to join us. Now, I was just looking there to see who's joining us there, and I'm just happy to see that Deborah's there from Mozambique. But I'm going to go back to the questions. The next one that I had that's come in is, my question is two-part. Number one, part one, have children gone into tertiary education? Most definitely yes. In fact, again, on the Oikos website, there is a section under videos and testimonies, and there's a whole lot of young adult testimonies there. Because what happened is, this question was coming up and people asking, how, if I do home education, are my children going to enter into tertiary? it was a big question because it's not the normal course of go to school, get your matric, go to college, university. It's not the usual course. So now it's something different. And now they go, oh, it's different. So now how do we know if it's going to be okay and if it's going to work? And am I being a responsible parent, making sure that my children will be prepared? The good news is that we have testimony upon testimony of young adults that have done this. They finished Oikos, they only did Oikos, and then they went into business or college or university or a medical degree, even the professional degrees, they've done that. And we've got those testimonies on the website. So you can go and watch those. I'm even thinking of you, Deborah, with younger children. Sometimes I've found that it's helpful for parents to take their younger children to watch those testimonies, because it builds the child's faith in that my parents are doing something different here and keeping us at home, and maybe those children have a lot of peer pressure. I'm not thinking about Deborah in this particular instance, because I know you live there on a mission base, and maybe your children are surrounded by the kinds of peer pressure that children in towns or cities might be experiencing. But the children do experience the pressure of that sense of concern about whether they're actually going to be able to get the certification they need to go to university, because that's what they hear everybody else is doing. So then it's a good idea for a parent to possibly let the child sit down and watch some of these testimonies that we put on the website. So we did these interviews with these young adults, and we put these testimonies on the website, not just for the parents to be comforted that it's going to be okay, but also for them to share those with their children, to also support the children. So I hope that you will be able to have the person who asked this question, I hope you'll have time to be able to go to videos, testimonies, and watch some of those video testimonies, those testimonies of those young adults that we put there for you. In fact, we interviewed them a long time ago now. I think it must be 5 years or more, maybe even longer than that. And so we would like to do some follow-up videos of those same people, because I'm thinking of some of them now, and they are actually in the field of what they went to university for. So, for example, if they went to study medicine, then they're actually now a qualified doctor and in the field of that practice, having only been home educated, mind you. So you see, it is absolutely fine. Yes, they will be fine. Well, I can't actually guarantee you of that, can I? Because it depends if you are being a responsible parent and if your children are getting the education that I would imagine that a parent asking this question is being responsible, because they are considering it and wanting to do what's best for their child. But there is a second part to this question, and that is, have they found the adjustment difficulty? Oh, well, that would also be answered in those testimonies. You can hear for yourself from those young people whether they have found the adjustment difficult going into tertiary. Thinking of the conversations we've had with some of them, whereby one of the adjustments might be that they discovered that they weren't like everybody else. The one conversation I'm remembering is the one young lady said to me, it seemed like nobody else at the university was normal. So she thought that she was the only normal person because everybody else seemed so different to her. So you will listen for yourself at some of those testimonies. And so I don't know, when you ask, have they found it difficult? I suppose in our reference, we might be thinking difficult is that they found the work difficult or the adjustment to university difficult or whatever, the social side. But the things that maybe parents think that they're worrying about that might be a difficulty for their children are very unlikely to be the ones that actually they're having difficulty. For example, the social aspect. Home educated children are known, it's known now, I'm sure, that they are well adjusted socially. There's so much data on that, so much research done. We've even got links to research of that on the website as well, about how well adjusted and adapted home educating students are as far as social is concerned, and academic. It's just good. Lots and lots of good that comes out of home education. So what I'm saying is the difficulties might not be what you're thinking that they're going to be. There might be some other kind of difficulty that we don't know about. But the summary on that is that it is good news, that the students that have gone have not found it difficult in that the difficulty has not necessarily been a negative. It's been something good, the difficulty they might have had because they've had to grow. All right? I'm now going to look for the next question. Okay, this one is a product-related question. It says, why can I not purchase Spelling UC from you? Because the Maths UC website in America says that you are the South African distributor, yet you don't have Spelling UC. Good question. We do distribute Maths UC because we've had that adapted to meet South African needs, so it's actually South African Maths UC. Thank you to Steve and the team for allowing us to do that, because that has just made it so much better because it's now fitting in with the South African needs. But we don't have Spelling UC for a few reasons. The one is we haven't adapted it to South Africa, but that's okay too, because it is very strongly American spelling, but we know that that's all right because children are needing to be very exposed to all the different kinds and methods of spelling anyway, with internet being what it is and so on. But I would say that's not really the main reason. The main reason is this, that at Oikos we try and keep things simple, we try to keep it uncluttered, we try to keep it affordable. And Spelling UC, we've had it, we've got it and had a look at it and seen if it fits in with Oikos's rest of the resources. And here's the fact, it actually very much overlaps with what is being offered in Blue Lateral. So when a parent is buying Blue Lateral to teach their child to read, they're also teaching their child to spell, beginning foundational steps of teaching to spell and read and write and so on. So Spelling UC is doing the same thing in a different way. It might be doing it with a lot more focus on spelling. Well, not might be, I'm sure it would be, because it's a spelling program. But that is built and included in the Lateral Blue Book. And so we could sell it here, we could distribute it here, but we're thinking that why would we sell you something that you otherwise would have if you get in the Blue Book to do all the different aspects of teaching a child to read and spell and write? So that's why we don't have Spelling UC. Yeah, that's the answer for now. I'm not going to put that in stone and say we're never going to have Spelling UC, because maybe we do down the road. But for now, we don't have it. And I hope that answer will suffice for this time. Okay, now I'm going to just have a look again to see if there are any other questions that I have missed. Simone, thank you for joining us. Simone, you've asked a question here about the fact that you've got twins and you've read Better Late Than Early. Well done. Congratulations. I know somebody who was did Oikos all her, I think it was her whole life. I think so. And she's got twins now. And they're so adorable. They're 6 months old and they're starting to crawl. And so as a mom with twins of 3, what it is all about to be a mother of twins. And you've asked me now, what would be the best parent help book to read next? That's a good question. Well, one of my favorites is Ruth Beechek, because Ruth Beechek is just such a darling. She has written quite a few home educating books, and the one that she's written is the 3 R's. And I'm thinking of the age of your children. The 3 R's is probably a good one to move on to after reading Better Late Than Early. I'm so glad you've read Better Late Than Early, because now you can just relax and not think that you have to rush and hurry your little toddlers into formal learning. You can just take your time, enjoy the process, let them be little toddlers and just enjoy the day with them. It's already full enough for you. But the 3 R's might be a good one for you to go on to. But what has become known as the Homeschool Bible, although I know there's only one real Word of God, we know about that, but a standard book in everybody's home is the Successful Family Handbook. The Successful Homeschool Family Handbook, written also by the Moors. And that is just, it's like your all-round home educating. It's like your parent manual for home education. So I would say that's a standard, but also the 3 R's considering the age of your children. And then you also want to know, well, I mean, I could spend a lot of time on this topic of what is the next best book to read, because what I'd like to suggest is you really pray about it, because there are a few, there's too many to choose from. So I'm going to suggest you look at the titles that are offered there and just ask God to guide you and direct you, because He knows those little children. He knows your little twins and what they need and what you need to be equipped in and prepared for to continue to raise them for Him. Now I'm going to speak to Debbie. Debbie, I see you've written a question here. Hello, Debbie. Let me see what you are asking. Okay, so when you say that you stopped homeschooling about 2 months ago, I'm now thinking that maybe you still have your son at home. You've just stopped the actual formal learning. And he would be happy if we never did anything again. And you know what I would do? Debbie, I would sit down with my 14-year-old son and I'd say, now I have been given authority by God to raise you and prepare you for adult life. Now, if I just neglect that and I don't continue to teach you and see to it that you're getting your learning done, then it's going to come a time when you're going to be needing to be prepared for certain things. Think of something that he really wants to be able to do when he's an adult, drive a car or a bakkie, or maybe something that he's passionate about, no matter what it is. Like, for example, our son was passionate about film and video, and he was also went through a time of being interested in digital and technology, more so even than the film and video, and then film and video took that over, and now he's sitting there helping me do this live streaming. But for him to get there, he had to be able to learn some very important basic formal lessons. I had to get those in, and I had to help him to be responsible with them and to get through. And one of the things that he wasn't his favorite was language, for example. So we could, I suppose, have fought over that, but we didn't, I'm happy to say, because I would be able to sit down with him and say, okay, let me show you these lateral books. See these lateral books. Now, if we stop here, this is how well equipped you're going to be, or ill-equipped, should I say, for your adult life. You'll only be able to get this far with certain things. But if we go to this level, then you'll be able to achieve in your adult life at a higher level, and so on and so forth. So I sort of slowly took him through and showed him, although languages isn't his most favorite subject to study, to do, it's important that he does, because I need to help him, come alongside him and help him to get there. So he did eventually make it to Gold Book. He didn't do it with his running shoes on and skip and hop and jump like his sister about it, because she was passionate about language. He sort of plodded through. But the thing is that he got to the end of it. And I'm just wondering where your son is now, because I would actually like to talk to him and just really encourage him to just come alongside and come on board with the importance of this time that he's got between age 14 and 18. It's only 4 years. It is a privileged time, let's face it. Being an adult he's got to be prepared for being an adult. It's not easy. There's a lot that he has to be equipped for and prepared in. And these formal studies is part of that. It's part of that equipping. So I just hope that you won't leave it for too long. And maybe it was important to put it aside for a bit, just to let things settle down. But I'm not sure that it's a good place for your son to be just being happy to not do anything, because that's not equipping him really. He's not going to be well prepared and equipped for adult life if he thinks it's okay just to do nothing. And you know that. I mean, Debbie, you know that in your heart already. You know the answer. And that is clearly why you're asking the question, because you're concerned. So I just hope, that helps in some way. Just thinking maybe just show him the big picture and then let him know that you're there for him to help him achieve that big picture and get him to the goals that are actually necessary. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for asking that question. I hope it doesn't only just help your son, but others as well. Shirley's there. I wonder if Shirley's still there. Hello, Shirley. Shirley's in England. Wonderful. I'm so glad you could join us. Okay, Simone, you read that one first. That's nice. And now you'll get the 3 R's. Perfect. And then the success one. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, the Successful Family Handbook really is. I don't know anybody that hasn't gobbled that one up and just felt very supported by it. Oh, okay, Debbie, you now just letting me know that your son is actually struggling. And perhaps that's what's caused some of the difficulty. Oh, it makes me feel sad because he's struggling. So then perhaps maybe you could do that assessment that I spoke about earlier on this particular live stream. I spoke about how you can go to start it. Go to videos, courses, and start it. I'll say that slowly. On the website, you go to the video tab, and then it drops down a menu, and there's a subtitle that says courses. Click on courses, and then there's a whole lot of other subtitles that say start it, do it, finish it. And under start it is how do I assess my child? Maybe you and your son can sit and do some of those assessments together, which will then mean that you'll slot him in at the level that is comfortable, that he can do, not one that's just about his age or his grade. Because if you think about it, Debbie, you can have an adult, like me, for example, okay? I want to learn French. I've got to start right from grade 1 book of French, or even before that. I've got to have a little picture like a preschool of a human body, and it's pointing to the arm and telling me what arm is in French. I have no clue right now. And so I would have to learn from the very beginning, and that's where I'd be comfortable. And so it doesn't matter about my age. So it's the same with your son. It doesn't matter about what grade he's supposed to be in, or he should be in, or he's come from, or whatever, and what age he is. The point is he needs to be slotted in where he can manage, because then that's where he starts. And then from there, you just build up. And it's okay if he starts at, let's say, Orange Book. Because, the language, you talk about reading and writing here, he battles to write and you read slowly. If you think about Blue Book as teaching a child to read, and Red Book is teaching reading fluency, and Yellow Book is helping them to start getting into proper novels, chapter books, and then Orange Book is taking it the next level up. It just keeps, notching up in levels. Our daughter was doing Red Book when she was 12. If that gives you any idea, because she was having some serious struggles. No, I think I exaggerated. Not Red Book. What did I say? Red Book. She was doing Orange Book or Yellow Book. It doesn't matter. The point was that when she was in her heading into young adult years, she was still busy with what people would be calling the primary, junior primary, high. They'd be calling the junior levels. But it didn't matter to her, and it didn't matter to us, because she was separated from all the pressure of which might not be the case for you, Debbie, and your son. But the thing is that even if she was connected in with all the pressure that she could have been receiving, it would have been up to me as a parent to help her to see that she might not be at that level because she has other abilities. She's unique. She has special abilities. And in this particular area, we need just to slowly work through it. You can't stand on the bottom rung of the step ladder and then land up on the roof of the house. You've got to climb the step ladder. So maybe your son is only 3 or 4 rungs up the step ladder, and he needs help to go the rest of the way, and you can't actually just take him to the top quickly. You have to help him progress at the level where he's comfortable to start. And now you might think, but now what if you get an Orange Book and he finishes in 3 months because it was so easy? Well, that's built his confidence, and as far as I'm concerned, even if it takes 2 months, it's worth it. The expenditure I'm talking about, it's an investment in your son's life. So even if he has to whiz through 2 or 3 levels in 1 year and it's now more costly, you can't really measure the cost of that, if you think about what it's achieving. On the other hand, if you've got budget restraints and you can't actually do that, then you still get the level that he's ready with. He's able. He goes through it. He's comfortable with that. And now you don't have the funds, for example, to get the next one so quickly. Well, then you just keep applying what he's learned, and you slowly advance that yourself through other means and through other methods without having to spend money on the next resource if you don't have it. So I just hope that's helping. And Shirley is still there. Yay. Thanks, Shirley. I'm glad you're still there. I hope you got some tea. My tea's probably getting cold here. Looking here to see if I have other... if I have any other questions, and I know I'm supposed to be able to see how many people have joined me here, but it's covered up there on the left-hand side. So it's not showing me like it would normally. Okay. But I have noticed, though, that we have been live here for about a half an hour, and we know that we don't want to be running live for too long, because then it can become where it's not great to go on and on and on for too long. So we're trying to find where the right timing is. The right time is to stop the live streaming. I don't really want to, because I love being there and talking to you. And it's especially nice that we've got Deborah out there in Mozambique and Shirley out there. Not that the South Africans I don't mean that it's not nice having you South Africans too, because I do love having the South Africans. They're joining me. But I'm letting the South Africans know that there's other home educating moms that are outside of South Africa that are there with us today. So thank you, ladies, for joining me. Thank you for spending this time with me. I don't have any more questions here. So what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make this, we're going to do our best to try and make this a standard Friday afternoon tea time. And I hope to bring you some encouragement at that tea time each week. And I was about to say goodbye when I just really felt that before I say goodbye, I need to leave this encouragement with you. And that is that we've had quite a challenging week, this past week just gone by. And there was something that I did with the challenge, because it was one of those like calamity, big crisis. Yeah? And I knew that it could just take me out, because that's what it was trying to do. But I also knew that the way to get through these is to run to the Word and to run to God. So what I did is I did just that. I ran to the Word and I asked the Lord just to please guide me with something to read, because I now need to just spend time in His Word. And He took me to James chapter 1. That's where I felt to go. That's just what I felt in my heart, to go to James chapter 1. And I started reading it, and it starts with, consider it pure joy when you suffer these types of trials. And I stopped right there and I thought, God is telling me that I must consider this joy. How do you do that in the face of a crisis and a trial? How do you stop and say, this is joy? Because you kind of feel that you're not being truthful with yourself by saying that you think it's a joy, because you don't really believe it's a joy. You don't believe that in your heart. But if we're obedient and God says, just consider it pure joy. If you just do that, stop there and do that and go, okay, I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to say, I consider this pure joy, Lord. Thank you for this trial. Do you know that the moment I started doing that, I started getting excited about the trial? Now, I know that might sound strange, but I really, really did. I was excited about what we were going to get through this trial, what we were going to find in it, the golden nuggets in the valley, how God was going, what He's going to be teaching us, how He was going to be with us, because He never forsakes us, and He was going to be beside us and taking us through the valley. And come out the other side, we're going to have learnt things that we wouldn't have without the trial. We're going to discover things. We're going to be richer, especially that we found some golden nuggets. You see, so very soon after the calamity and going to His Word, I found that being obedient and just making a decision to consider it joy very, very quickly started resulting in giving thanks. Thank you, Lord, for the trial. Now I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to what we're going to get through this trial. And so I really did really experience joy. And I really did experience strength come from that joy, because His Word says that His joy is our strength. And so I just wanted to leave you with that. It's just our own personal journey this week, but I just was so blessed by what I was receiving through it. And I know God has taught us this time and time again, but this particular instance, there was nothing else. It was like, oh my goodness, what is going to happen, what are we going to do, and then go to his word, just obey regardless of whether it feels like you can or not. And then what resulted in that has been exciting and strengthening, and we have joy. And if you look at the situation, like, how can anybody be joyful about such a calamity? But I don't want to get into all the details because that's just not necessary. The point is that if, when we're obedient to things that don't even make sense to us, and we just obey out of obedience, we just simply decide, okay, I'm just going to obey, regardless of whether I understand or not. The gift that we get from him after that, and that what he leaves with us, to me, is just worth telling you about today before I say goodbye. So, oh yay, someone's going to join us on Friday afternoons for tea. Thank you for the work you do to prepare the road for us. Simone, let me just say, it is an absolute joy to do that. It's so, so wonderful to be available here to help you to walk this walk. And between now and next tea time, I do hope you'll be able to find some more support on the website. I was just saying to Jamie before we started live streaming today that it feels as though the questions that are coming, we're so ready to be able to say to you, those questions are answered, not just in this short live streaming session, but we actually did a course on that. People have asking about certificates and what about documentation, and we did a whole course on that, like a video course, six-part video course, also under courses on videos. And it's exciting to know that the website is so equipped and ready with content and material to be able to answer these questions for you, in the hopes that it helps to you in this journey, and you can just keep getting that support and that help from the Oikos website. I hope that you will find it to be supportive. That's the point. Okay, so thank you, ladies. Thanks for being with me. Thank you for having tea time with me. I hope you can join me next week. I hope you can tell some of your friends to come and join us for tea, and especially those ladies far, far away. Thank you for being there as well. And also thank you to my fellow South Africans for being with me today. It's just very, very, very great privilege that we can do this. I thank the Lord for the opportunity of being able to be here and talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful evening and that you have a fantastic weekend. And I hope that you play games with your children. Find some games to play with them and have some good family time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.